Hey guys, Brent Hull Build Show, talking today about inside out, outside in, how to design a house, how we used to design a house today in the Build Show. Okay guys, so we're standing in front of an 1890s house in Fort Worth called the McFarland House. It's an historic house. We've done videos here. It's a great example of how we used to build. Now, one of the things that's interesting, there is a big tall window right over the stairs. Now, it was very important in the Victorian era and the turn of the century. You see window lights, okay, above stairs to allow natural light onto the stair. We've got one here. It's really beautiful, looks great. But underneath that, there's another window, the one with the bars on it. That is another stained glass window. Why is there a stained glass window there? I don't remember looking at it when I was on the inside. It's actually in the closet. Now, why would they have a window in a closet, especially a stained glass window in a closet? Well, it was important because the composure and the layout and the exterior of the house was so important, how it looked and how it came together, that they wanted to arrange things so that they're beautiful from the outside. Now that's very different from houses that are designed today. We're going to talk about that. We're going to go back to the shop, study new house versus old house. Come join me. Okay guys, so we're now back at the office. I'm going to show you kind of what's going on. So if we go back to the Georgian period, right, and we look at, how simple houses were, okay, you might have, let's say there's a chimney on either end, front door, house is very symmetrical. You basically have, a stair hall, and then 4 rooms, and then a fireplace. So this would be a fireplace, and this would be a fireplace, or whatever, however it's laid out. But the houses of the Georgian federal period are very symmetrical, very simple in form, okay? After balloon framing, 1840s, 1850s, we go to stick framing, where the big timbers turn into 2x4s, right? Victorian era, you begin to have houses with turrets and porches, and so all of a sudden this simple form begins to have a piece like this, or a jut out like this, or the houses change a little bit, and especially like a Queen Anne house isn't necessarily very symmetrical from the front, but stick framing allows you to do more, complex shapes, more different shapes and stuff like that. But still, in those houses, just as in that one, the houses were designed from the outside in. In other words, the view from the outside, okay, and how it looked, how it contributed to the character of the community was very important, okay? After World War II, houses changed quite a bit. And as builders get involved, as production building starts, as the whole custom builder kind of rises up, we no longer design our houses based on the exterior appeal, okay? It's more about how it's going to live on the inside. And so when I was partners with an architect, 10 years ago, Hull Watson Homes, Scott would sit down with clients and they'd say, well, I want a big kitchen. And so they would go, I want a big kitchen. I wanted it to open to the family room. I need a large master suite, and I need the kids over on this side of the house. And we need a garage over here for 3 cars. And so they end up designing and building these things based on these pods that get put together very funny. And so then you end up with houses that, let's just say this was added on and there's something over here that can look like Frankenstein, right? They have all these different parts and pieces sewn onto them. And so we end up with a house that's been designed from the inside out, okay? Because Scott would finish these meetings with these clients and they go, oh, what do you want it to look like? Oh, I don't know, something traditional, right? And so the house was designed, based on how the floor plan was, how the kitchen, how far it was to the master, and all these other things were the first considerations as opposed to a secondary consideration. If we look back on these other houses, things weren't designed that way. We didn't have that kind of luxury in our lives because it was just not thought of. So we end up with a stained glass window in a closet, okay, on our Victorian house because it laid out symmetrically over the stair window. It helped balance and helped give order and structure to the outside facade, to how that whole thing looked. It was a contributing factor to the exterior. No one, I don't think, in this day and age would put a stained glass window in a closet, right? And so we end up with houses. One reason, guys, why houses are, not as pretty as they used to be the nice way of saying it. One reason why our houses are ugly would be another way of saying it, is because we are no longer thinking about houses, about how they are going to appear to our neighborhood, how they're going to contribute to society. We think about only ourselves and we say, well, I want it to function this way, I want it to function this way. And there's a flip here that's taken place between, function and aesthetics. You look at, these old pattern books that were done by famous authors, and the authors would write in the 1850s, 1860s that if you want to have honest citizens, you have to have honest houses. If you want to have communities with character, then your architecture must have character. It's Winston Churchill said, first we shape our buildings and then they shape us. What we build matters. And so if we continue on this path of saying, well, I don't care what it looks like on the outside, I only care about how it's going to function on the inside, we end up with ugly houses, because then things get dissembled, because we are not thinking any longer about how this house is going to look to our neighbors and how it's going to contribute on a scale of beauty and things like that. We more think about, well, is my couch big enough? How big's my countertop in the kitchen? And so I'm not saying that those are bad things, and I'm not saying we shouldn't design that way, but there should be balance, guys. If we want to have beautiful houses today, it has to start with where we design, how we go about putting our houses together. And there has to be a consideration for outside first, right? Outside and beauty, and how this is going to structure that may cause us to change the way we think about where our master suite is going to be, or how big our closets are, or what kind of light we need into. Because what will happen is we'll start building this master suite, and you'll go into the closet and there's not enough light here. Oh, well, if we just put a skylight up here, we could get some light in here. Or if we just kick this out a little bit, we could put a door here, and all of a sudden we're adding things to the outside for convenience and everything else. Again, that's not bad, that's not wrong, but the planning should take a little bit longer so that we get things that are beautiful. Because it doesn't mean you can't have a door in your closet, it doesn't mean you can't have a skylight, but it should balance and look pretty and contribute to the architecture as a whole. Again, this is why when I help clients design houses, I'm talking about, let's build a narrative. Let's build a story about what it's gonna say, about who you are, about what it is, and then let's make every element we put into that house relevant to that story. So a couple different ways to think about things, couple different things to mold together as you drive through neighborhoods and go, why is it so ugly here, okay? Or drive through historic neighborhoods and you go, why do I love this? Why are these houses so beautiful? There is a change that's taken place, typically after World War II, that is an outside in versus inside out. It really does make a difference. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Hull Millwork Hull Homes. We've started a podcast called Passion for Craft. Check it out, Patreon, Passion for Craft. You'll see a lot of information. We're really trying to raise the bar as far as education and training and things like that. And then there's a newsletter. Please sign up for that too. I'm Brent Hull. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.